Hello, everyone. Welcome to Development Palates. Aaron Loomis here from the Ventura Cigar Company studio. With me today is Jiunn Liu, Seth Geis, and John McTavish. How you guys doing this afternoon?
It's evening time, man. It's fucking 8 o'clock.
It's afternoon.
Well,
Let's
it's
go.
Melting.
It's hot.
It's a dry heat, man.
It's a dry heat.
It's not a dry
It's a dry heat, man.
But it's dry heat. Even though cigar still tastes like shit.
Even up here, it's not a dry heat right now.
I say that about everything.
All right, so today we are talking about the Davidoff Robusto Real Especiales 7 for all the gringos out there. Robusto Extra 5.5 by 48. Comes out of the Davidoff factory in the Dominican Republic. Wrapper is Ecuadorian Habano. Binder is Dominican Olor Seco. Filler is Dominican San Vicente Ligero, San Vicente Visus, Piloto Seco, Piloto Visus, and Olor Seco. Price point is just shy of their trademark at $28.50. Release date is April of 2019.
Woo!
So with all that out of the way, Jiunn, give us your overall thoughts on this cigar.
I'll go off by saying, it's sad to say, this is the first Davidoff that I didn't like. Man, this cigar was weird. So initially, it tastes like Davidoff. It was like one of those smooth, well melded kind of a formula, like some hay. There's some creaminess. There's some bitter dried nuts, cherry cordials going. It was good, but for whatever reasons, starting from like the second, third, and like towards and the rest of the cigar, it was really dry for me. Just lots of water. Had to keep on sipping on. Started getting like this metallic finish as well. It's basically, those two things that any cigar will absolutely kill it for me. And it's just, it's just not that good. I was thinking maybe I got a dud, so I'm curious to see what you guys say.
All right, Seth, how about you? What were your overall thoughts?
Yeah, listen, June, man, I smoked more than one. I thought this was one of those Davidoffs where I thought it delivered a lot of complex flavors, more so than your typical Davidoffs. But it just lacked balance and they didn't work well together. I think in my, final, I said it was like a orchestra filled with incredible musicians that just didn't want to play together. So it just, nothing was working throughout the entire thing. You'd get some cool flavors here and there, but it just didn't have balance and, enjoyment. So, but it was a Davidoff though. So kind of like to quote John and AJ Fernandez, it's fantastic burn lines, great construction.
I agree. Fantastic construction. I really enjoy that.
All right, John, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought the first third was good. I think that's where, unfortunately for me, all the complexity kind of sat. Throughout it had some nice notes of cocoa, dry cedar, but as June was saying, kind of when you got, it was a hard line. And since some cigars are subtle transition from thirds, but this was like a hard line, and it became very drying in the middle third and very drying in the last third. And the flavor complexity really dropped off a cliff quite rapidly. And I'm not sure what happened there. I'm not sure, it lacked, as Seth was saying, like the balance was, to me, it was like the orchestra kind of quit playing halfway through. So you were kind of into it, and then the orchestra is just like, okay, I'm done. I'm good. And it's like, oh, okay, well, we've still got like an hour and 15 minutes to go, but that's cool, man. That's cool.
How do you describe the analogy of the orchestra within the perfect construction, you guys? I'm just curious.
So it's as if their instruments are very expensive, very finely tuned. They're impeccably played, but the music they're putting out is
they're all reading from different sheets of music.
It's no bueno.
It'd be like if the police sucked.
What sucked?
I said it would be like if the police sucked, man.
If the police sucked.
The police sucked, because those three are like incredibly talented.
But you guys were talking about this cigar like it was the worst thing on earth, and we're talking in the green room, and I'm like, man, it's a Ferrari. It doesn't do 145 miles an hour, 165 miles an hour, whatever Ferraris do this day. I don't know, because I'm middle class. I don't have that money like you dollars down there. But it was all right. I think I was disappointed because you expect more out of Davidoff, and that's kind of the problem. Is that when you release good cigars that perform really well, and you come out with a cigar that's average, it's like, hey man, what's the deal? Now, we can talk about price point in a bit, but Aaron, what was your experience like?
Yeah, I agree with you. You know, the cigar started off well, had that kind of traditional Davidoff mushroom mustiness combined with some charred wood and some cinnamon, but that didn't really last very long. After that, it kind of just settled into like a charred wood and general mustiness note that just went through the remainder of the cigar. Yeah, I never smoked the original release of this, so I can't compare it to it, nor should you compare it to it since it was so long ago. So stop comparing this to the original people. You know, I thought it was fairly average. I didn't have the best construction. For the last year or so, I've just been having burn issues with Davidoff. And I don't know why I happen to be the one that gets the ones that don't burn well, but it happens to me. And but price point, man, this does not live up to any kind of close to that price point. So if you want to try it out, you have to kind of take that into consideration. But it's probably not something I'm going to return to for that. So getting into the scores, we'll start at the top. John, you gave it a 6.10. I was behind you at 5.80. Next was Jiunn at 5.03, and Seth gave it a 4.93. So John, 6.10.
Yeah, that sounds about right. If you take an above-average cigar, so based on flavor profile, this is probably going to land around the 5/8 because it's not average; it's above average. But then you throw in, I mean, it's constructed like a $28 cigar should be, and that's where the bump occurs. So that bump is absolutely because of construction. You could argue that it kind of should be constructed that well if you're going to drop $28, but that's why we have a value proposition.
Yeah, and I scored it identical to you except for the burn, which I had issues with. So I thought it was above average flavor profile. So mine fits well. I mean, just sub 6, just due to the burn issues.
Yeah.
All right, Jiunn, 5.03.
I mean that for my kind of scoring curve, that's probably a little below average. So that the story of that 505 score is perfect construction. Last 2 thirds I thought was subpar, while the first third was good. So basically, what I'm trying to say behind that is it was not a good tasting cigar. I expect perfect construction out of these cigars. It's not user error. We all know how to keep our humidors in good prime condition. So yeah, it's disappointing, and I'm disappointed.
All right, Seth, 4.93.
Yeah, man. I mean, this reminds me of those like Ferrari 348s from the 1990s. So it's just no. I mean, I think John touched on something, and maybe this falls on me, or I think anytime you critique a cigar, I think when burn and draw was great, it smoked average. Where I killed it was kind of overall impression, just because I think of how I thought it all blended together and came together. And was I harsh? Was I too hard on this, given the fact that I was expecting more out of a Davidoff, and knowing that it's a $28 cigar. But at the same time, if you're making a $28.50 cigar, I don't know, you kind of expect top quality with it. So it's I think that's where my overall really destroyed it.
Yeah.
What's interesting about something like this, because we have 4 different palates that review the cigar, right? Whole bunch of us doing these team reviews, and all of us essentially consistently have said it's average or it's subpar. Right. So given that, I'm curious what the vision of this cigar was. Like, is it a lack of quality control? Is it a lack of just I don't know what it is. I'm curious. We'll probably never really find out the true story, but I'm curious.
I'd be really curious what a dyed-in-the-wool Davidoff smoker's take on this would be. Like if you take the guy who smokes Davidoff and nothing but Davidoff, I'd be really interested to see what that guy's take.
I mean, Seth just told you it was a 4.93.
That's true. That is a good point.
No, but I mean, like, listen,
yes, Seth.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, if you take, you look at those classic Davidoffs, and I think this is where you're looking at old school Davidoff smokers versus kind of like the new wave Davidoff smokers. And I think if you look at those people, it'd be an interesting person to actually ask about it is like Mike Herklotz. Just because of his history with it, and his, he's even talked about his respect for the old school Davidoffs. Jiunn, you missed that conversation, you asshole. So, but it's one of these things, like, from someone like, listen, I love the Davidoff Grand Crus and that stuff. Does it kind of, for loving those, no, this is just.
Yeah, I would take a
Can we-
Grand Cru over this.
I take a Grand Cru over this.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
question.
me too. And I don't know what Mike said, but I'd take a Grand Cru over this too.
Well, her clause kind of just talks about. Actually, I don't know if I should talk about this. This is kind of a public thing. That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk about it. It was a good conversation though.
Yeah. Let's talk about that when we go off live.
Yeah, we'll do it off the air.
Okay.
All right. Any other thoughts on this one from you guys? All right. If you just catch this video on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to us, as well as check out the full written review on the website, developingpalates.com. Follow us on all the social media channels, and you can catch all of our review recaps on podcasts, so iTunes, Google Play, and Podbean. Thank you for tuning in. We will catch you on the next one.
Siete.